Imagine a small, poor city surrounded by enemies. It has no great army, no rich treasury, no palaces of gold, no vaults filled with treasure, simple dirt roads, wooden huts, people living in fear. Every morning the cloud of dust on the horizon could be news of a new attack. Every night the distant sound of swords could feel like the beginning of the end. But it has one thing: the desire to rule the world. The name of this city, Rome. No one knew then that this small city would one day shake continents, that its laws would continue to live thousands of years later. And now you will witness the birth and death of a 1,200-year empire, how power is built and how it is destroyed. But the question is, how did this small city conquer the world? How did the ruler of the world fall to its knees? Can power truly be eternal? Legend says Rome was founded in 753 BC by Romulus. They say he and his brother Remus were raised by a she-wolf. This is not just a myth. This is Rome's character: wild, harsh, forced to survive, a city raised on a wolf's milk. Perhaps that is why Rome never showed mercy to the weak. It either won or it destroyed. The early years were difficult: constant wars with neighboring tribes, hunger, disease, internal conflicts. Every day was a struggle to survive. But Rome was learning. After every defeat, it rose stronger. Every lost battle became a lesson for future victory. Even when they retreated, they were planning. As the years passed, Rome changed. It moved from monarchy to republic. There was no longer a single ruler. There was a senate. Laws were written. Order was created. A system was built. Rome was different. It did not simply destroy its enemies. It absorbed them into its dominion. It did not completely annihilate the peoples it defeated. It taught them to become Roman. This strategy is what made Rome grow. First Italy, then Carthage. The struggle for the Mediterranean began. The Punic Wars shed blood on a scale never before seen in history. Wars that lasted decades reduced cities to ruins. But in the end, Rome prevailed, and the Mediterranean was now Rome's lake. Rome was no longer a small city. It was a power that inspired fear with its discipline, conquered lands with its legions, and connected continents with its roads. But as power grew, cracks began to form within. Like every empire, Rome became heavier as it expanded. And then a name steps onto the stage: Julius Caesar. He was not just a general. He was a source of hope for the people. He conquered Gaul. His army trusted him because he fought alongside his soldiers. With his victories, he expanded Rome's borders. But the Senate was afraid, because Rome was no longer a republic. Rome had begun to revolve around one man. 49 BC. Caesar crossed the Rubicon River. This was illegal. This was open rebellion. This meant the end of the republic. And it led to civil war. Brother fought against brother. Rome drowned in its own blood. Caesar won. He was declared dictator. But Rome had overthrown a monarchy. It was not ready to accept a new king. 44 BC. The Senate building. Silence. Suddenly, daggers are drawn. Et tu, brute! This was not just the death of a man. It was the end of an era. But Caesar's death did not save Rome. On the contrary, it transformed Rome into an empire. After Caesar, Octavian came to power, later taking the name Augustus. He became Rome's first emperor. Rome lived through its golden age. Cities expanded. Roads were built. Aqueducts rose. Amphitheaters filled. Laws were systematized. Rome was no longer just a city. It was the world. Borders stretching from Britain to Egypt. Millions of people. massive legions. But empires began to rot from within. Weak emperors ascended the throne. Palace intrigues increased. The army's involvement in politics disrupted stability. Money lost its value. The treasury began to empty. On the borders, barbarian tribes waited. Rome was no longer attacking, it was defending. In 395 A.D., the empire was divided into two, the Western Roman Empire and the Eastern Roman Empire. This decision seemed like a solution, but in reality, it was the beginning of the end. The Western Roman Empire was weakening. The legions were no longer as strong as before. The population was declining. Taxes had become heavier. Hope was fading. And finally, 476 A.D., a Germanic commander, Odoacer, deposed the last emperor. The empire that once ruled the world was overthrown by a barbarian, quietly, without ceremony. Rome fell. But did it really? Rome collapsed, but its laws live on. Its roads are still in use. Its language, Latin, forms the foundation of many modern languages. Its successor in the East lived for another 1,000 years, the Byzantine Empire. Rome died, but Rome was never truly gone. Now ask yourself, when did Rome fall? In 476 A.D., or the first time blood was shed in the struggle for power? Perhaps Rome was destroyed not by stone walls falling, but by human weakness. History teaches us one thing: no empire is eternal, but every empire leaves behind a shadow, and Rome still casts that shadow over the world.